And it is 1:30. So let me kick the program off. My name is Kelly O'Brien, and I lead both the Chicago Central Area Committee and the Alliance for Regional Development. If you're not familiar with our organizations, please check out our websites. I think of particular note, I'd like to draw your attention on the Alliance for Regional Development website to the events tab, where we have a list of truly phenomenal speakers for our 2020 summit. We have done this now. This will be our 7th summit in partnership with the Federal Reserve Bank of Chicago. We're very disappointed that we can't be at the very lovely conference center at the bank. This will be virtual, but it does allow us to open up the programming to so many more stakeholders. So watch your emails. The Federal Reserve Bank will be sending out an invitation with a registration link. Speaking of links, I want to make sure that the audience knows that there is a Q&A button at the bottom of your screen. If you'd like to have me relay questions to our speakers today, please use the Q&A button and I will do my best to get your questions answered. And so without further ado, it is truly a pleasure to introduce our 2 speakers this morning. And first we have Chancellor Tom Keon as the Chancellor of Purdue University Northwest. He successfully led the complicated merger of the 2 Purdue system campuses in Hammond and Westville, Indiana. As Chancellor, Dr. Keon's leadership centers on positioning the university as a key player in Northwest Indiana's economic development, educational advancement, environmental sustainability, and cultural enhancement. During his 35 plus years in higher education, he has served in leadership roles at universities all over the country, including states such as Illinois, Florida, Missouri, and Michigan, and we shouldn't forget Vermont. So the Chancellor brings, I think, a real national perspective to his role in Northwest Indiana, but from my standpoint, the mega region. I am particularly honored to have Chancellor Keon with us today because he has been a member of the Alliance for Regional Development Board for many, many years, if not from the inception. I mean, I know you have been such a great supporter, and I am so grateful. We wouldn't be able to do the programming that we do and interact with the high level of stakeholders without the support that you have provided, both in Northwest Indiana and also in Indianapolis. So thank you and your team. And our second speaker today is Dr. Niaz Latif. And Dr. Latif oversees 2 colleges, the College of Technology, and he is the interim dean of the College of Engineering and Sciences. And as you can imagine, both of those colleges include several undergraduate and graduate degrees. So there is no doubt that, that Dr. Latif definitely has his hands full. And as if that's not enough, he is the executive director of the Commercialization and Manufacturing Excellence Center and has recently opened the new David Roberts Center for Innovation and Design at Purdue Northwest. Dr. Latif has also has received several federal grants for workforce development, including grants from the National Science Foundation, the U.S. Department of Labor, and the U.S. Department of Commerce. And one of the reasons that I'm so excited about today's conversation is because of an almost $6 million grant that Purdue Northwest received from the NSA that really caught my attention. And it was something that was alluded to if you joined our conversation with Matt Wells, who is assisting from a technology standpoint today and was recently on the webinar series as his role as the head of one region. So gentlemen, welcome and thank you for being with us today.
Thank you, Kelly. It's a great opportunity that you're providing to us. And I'm particularly excited about being with you, primarily because we feel like we're not just neighbors, we really feel like we're part of the greater Chicago area. So as you look at our university, and Matt can show you some details, I certainly won't go through all of the details, But we have over 8,000 students, and it's a very, very diverse population. It reflects Northwest Indiana. And as you can see on the slide, we also are now attracting 15% of our students right from the Chicagoland area. So my hope is that we'll have Dr. Latif tell you a little bit about what he's doing with these cyber grant. But more importantly, we do feel like we are a Chicago university. After all, Hammond is on the border, and our Hammond campus is less than 3 miles from Illinois. So with that, I'll turn it over to Niaz, who can provide some more in-depth information about what's happening with cybersecurity.
Thank you,
Chancellor. Thanks for having me to tell what we're doing at Purdue Northwest. I believe Purdue Northwest is positioned itself as a hub for cybersecurity education and the workforce development in the area of cybersecurity. We have been successful so far, getting lots of federal grants in this area, and we have outreach activities and the workforce development activities, curriculum development activities, all for in the area of cybersecurity. So if you are looking at this slide, you'll see that we have academic programs, but we also have a significant partnership with the two-year colleges around us. We think that we provide the opportunity for individuals coming to the program, create a pathway for them to pursue associate degrees and the four-year degree down the road. The partnership that we do, it also helped us to secure this kind of grants so that it has not only effect regionally, it also impact nationally. About our most recent grant, if you see, we'll see that it's focused on artificial intelligence and cybersecurity certification, like a nationally endorsed certification will be given to these individuals. And there is a tremendous need in this area. In fact, there is almost 12% projected growth in this area of cybersecurity between 2018 and 2028. Also, we found that about artificial intelligence grew 270% in last 4 years. So when we look at this kind of data and we look at our expertise and our strength and our track record, we thought we can position ourselves to expand and scale up what we have been doing regionally as well as nationally. We want to establish in greater Chicagoland area the place where you go for learning about the cybersecurity in terms of workforce development and the programs, academic programs, certifications, and so on. If you look at the next slide, you will see that this is the fund that we got. This is the most recent grant, but in the following slide, it shows what we have been doing it in the area of cybersecurity. If you look at that, we address the pipeline development. We applied the specific area of machine learning. We ran the clinic for secure programming, and we also provided through articulation agreement seamless pathway. We also developed the pedagogical method in the curriculum. We reached out to high school. We helped teachers to develop the high school curriculum, and also to encourage the current generations who want to make sure that we have cyber camp on campus. We have been very successful, funded by NSA, so that we can outreach to these individuals and excite them in the area of cybersecurity. So as you can see from this list, we are establishing ourselves in terms of cybersecurity education and also workforce development. I will
Dr.
now,
Latif, I'm
yes.
sorry, may I ask you a question? While we're looking at this slide, it says $12 million in federal grants from 2017 to present.
Correct.
So one question is, when did the development of cybersecurity programming really start at Purdue? I mean, this was not an option when I was in college.
Correct. So what happens is that when we hired faculty members several years ago, we realized at that time that there is an emerging area of cybersecurity. At that time, we have selectively hired faculty members who can help us in developing this. So we have a chair of the department who is very forward thinking, and we have faculty members who are very faculty forward thinking, as well as have the required expertise. And they started working in this area, started writing the grants, and then we have been very successful getting federal grants from 2017 onwards. Since we have very fortunate and we demonstrated success in those grants, obviously we had the follow-up grants.
Right. And congratulations on that.
Thank you. So I will now transition to Chancellor again, and then obviously I think we'll be able to answer questions if there's any.
Okay, thank you, Niaz. Cybersecurity is one piece of many, many things that we are doing as a university. As a university, we particularly don't want to be isolated. We want to be part of the community. And whenever we can, we'd actually like to be leaders in the community. We have many assets that allow us to impact Northwest Indiana and beyond for social, cultural, and economic leadership. When you think about a university, or when I think about a university, I think about it as an accumulation of a number of significant assets, particularly in the form of faculty, but we have other assets as well. And so we've been working as a university to try to share those assets with the community and to try to lead innovation in Northwest Indiana, which is one of the reasons that we have the Commercialization Center that Niaz heads up. It gives us an opportunity to let individuals in Northwest Indiana really have a true opportunity to get advice, get information, as well as sometimes getting prototypes if necessary. Additionally, on the campus, we have a wonderful simulation lab. And this simulation lab has worked with the steel industry for the last 15 years. So we have 16 major steel companies that come to our campus twice a year to work on simulating problems and concerns that the steel industry has, primarily with blast furnaces, but we do other work with them as well. If you look at the next slide, you'll see some examples of areas that we've moved into. I'm going to talk just about two of these. The Indiana Bankers Association, working with the university, helped us put together a banking program in our business college. And it's the first banking program in the state of Indiana. And there's an example of us going out, talking to the banking community, asking them what they need, and then being there as a partner to help them out. On the bottom right, you can see that we're attempting now to expand what we're doing in innovation and commercialization to a much broader form. We're working with a group in Northwest Indiana noted as the Forum. And the Forum is primarily made up of all of the large businesses and medium-sized businesses in Northwest Indiana. They truly believe that for Northwest Indiana to be ready for the next level of change in manufacturing and change in the economic development of our region, that we do need to be more innovative. And so right now, working with the Forum and with people of Northwest Indiana, we're planning to put together a supersized commercialization and innovation center.
Well, I know from my experience that the Innovation Center and the Simulation Lab are extraordinary assets for the mega region. And as you know, we've hosted stakeholders, and I think everybody is always really just so taken with the incredible technology that's literally in our, in our backyard in part of the mega region.
Yeah, the simulation center has really become a real key for businesses in Northwest Indiana to come for problem solving. So we have many, many examples of companies that have run into some specific type of problem, although many of the problems deal primarily with heat transfer. But we are there to listen to their problem, collect data, simulate what's happening in their product or in their process, and then make recommendations for them to be able to take care of any of the problems that they may have.
And although right now it sounds like probably the majority of your customer clients are Northwest Indiana-based companies, it's really open to any organization or company that has a problem that a simulation lab might be able to create the 3D ability to resolve. And it's open to our stakeholders throughout the mega region. Correct, Chancellor Keon?
Yeah, no, that's absolutely true. Additionally, we have a lot of other areas, and I'll let Niaz talk a little bit about this, but we do a lot with mechatronics and with the packaging industry. And some of our big partners are in Illinois, one just over the border, but one of the other strong partners has a lot of operations near O'Hare. Niaz, you want to fill in a little bit on mechatronics?
Yes, so a mechatronics engineering technology program is the program actually developed at the initiation of the relevant industry, and they champion the cause from the industry side, and we at the institutional level champion our cause, how we can come up with a program based on industry needs. They made the commitment to support the laboratories. They made the commitment for internship for our students, and 7-8 years down the road, we produce a lot of graduates well employed, but it particularly serves that particular industry where there's lots of jobs which cannot be outsourced, rather all custom designed. So it benefits our citizens. At the same time, it benefits our companies. Most of our students are anchored regionally. If they find this kind of gainful employment, if they have within this area, they don't leave, they grow with the company. But we are continuously supported by this industry. We have named laboratories, and we always get the projects which gives real life experience to our students to solve problems, to improve their product and their process. So as Chancellor mentioned over and over again, that we want to be the engaged university. And that engagement could be in all front. From the College of Engineering Science, for College of Technology, we're engaged with the relevant business, industry, and organization. That's how we are positioning ourselves.
And talking about engagement and the almost $6 million grant that you received from the NSA, let's talk a little bit about the workforce training. And so how many individuals will benefit from this almost $6 million grant?
Yeah, we have target number of about 425, and the training will be free, but we have to recruit the right kind of individuals. Primarily, it is focused on the military, transitioning military, and the first responders, as well as any adult looking for job transitioning and upskilling. So that's our focus.
I received a question from one of our stakeholders, and it's a three-part question. So it may require both of you to jump in. But the first part of the question asks in regard to the Cybersecurity Hub that is being created or further enhanced. Will there be any economic viability studies?
Chancellor, you want me to respond to that?
Yeah, please.
Yeah. So when we write this kind of proposals, one of the criteria is that we have to justify why we need this. So as I mentioned, the need for the cybersecurity and AI workforce, and as I said, the growth almost 12%, but currently, even as we speak, there's a shortage of multi-million uh, jobs nationwide. And if you look at the greater Chicago and this region, we identified what these needs are. So the impact in terms of economics would be trained people finding jobs, and that has economic impact. The next question comes, how can we sustain this? So we think that as we train this workforce, there's a more and more need. We can have them go through our academic programs because there's a seamless pathway between training, certification, articulate with the 2-year courses, then articulate with the 4-year courses. We did have similar experience with our previous grant where these kind of trainings where participants receive the certification and national endorsed certification, they can translate those expertise into college level courses in 2-year institution. And then we have articulation with the regional 2-year colleges, they can transition into the 4-year program.
Well, and the second part, well, so is there going to be a formal study that will there be actual metrics or kind of tracking how this grant is it develops actual, participants going into the workforce? Is that something that you'll be tracking?
Yes, any grant requires that there's a target what we want to accomplish. This particular one, I didn't see the detailed proposal, but we have to show, okay, if 425 participants are participating, how many actually did? How many got the certification? So we have identified the participant can earn 3 levels of certification, one for entry-level technician, one for expertise to monitor the network security threats, and one for install and configure the system for secure application, right? So there's a 3 level of certification. We'll monitor how many got those certification, how many actually joining in the employment, and how many they're retaining in this job. So we do it for other federal grants. I'm pretty sure we will be doing the same thing here.
Great. And then the second part of the question, it goes towards economic growth. And I wonder, Chancellor Keon, with your outreach to the business community, I remember after 9/11 that there were a lot of companies from the East Coast that wanted kind of the safety of Middle America. I've heard about companies, in the West Coast with the earthquakes and with the fires that they are, again, kind of migrating here. So what are you seeing from an economic development standpoint in terms of jobs being created that will be open for this workforce that you're training?
So we have a workforce training center really near the Innovation Center. And there are many, many businesses currently that are really short on supply of trained individuals in many ways other than just cybersecurity. But we also have an expectation that we're going to be training beyond the region of Northwest Indiana, beyond Chicago, and this is going to be a national effort. So my expectation is that a lot of these individual trained may be employed throughout the United States, not just singularly in our geographic area.
Understood. And the third part of the question, really talks about how will economic and public policies be formulated to connect technology with regional economic development. And as you know from our work with the Alliance for Regional Development, we're always trying to break down those barriers and help connect the dots with supply chains and really understand the assets that are within the mega region. But as you suggest, with this work, the seeds will be planted here, but sprouted possibly all over the country, but really bringing visibility back to Purdue and to the mega region because of this, really extraordinary focus that I assume is pretty unique. Are there any other schools in the area that you know that have this kind of focus and making this investment?
Go ahead, Niaz.
In terms of cybersecurity, the only public institution is us. Four-year public institution in this greater Chicagoland, we have these kind of activities. The reason I'm saying there are lots of programs offered, but to identify as the National Center for Academic Excellence in the cybersecurity education, we are the one public institution in this region. We also have two-year institution in this region heavily engaged with cybersecurity education, who we partner with.
One example of how this makes a difference, one of our graduates who graduated several years back now, created his own firm to help with cybersecurity. And he really has a large growing firm here in Northwest Indiana. And additionally, we have a new property developing up on the lake shore. And it is a digital company that is going to be available to help manage data transfer throughout the whole region. So I will see over time slowly pieces coming together. We've always been a transportation hub. If you go out on any given day from our campus, you can hear the trucks rolling by on I-80. But now we're starting to become, a hub for data as well as other areas of higher technology.
Well, again, I want to invite the audience, if there are any other questions, please use the Q&A button. And so in terms of, for our audience that's listening, are these programs available now? Are the certifications something that somebody could sign up to start taking the classes as soon as January, or what's the timing?
Yes, it will be, if not sooner, in January for sure. The reason is that we just got the grant, so it allows us to employ recruiter, advisors, and so on, which are in the process right now. And then it will be the information will be disseminated in the region widely through social media, through announcement, news announcement, and everything. We'll try all venues to make it happen because we want to train about 425 for 4 institutions together. So we want to reach out to the right kind of individuals who wants to be in the transition of a new technology or new job. And also, obviously, we'll be focusing on the military and first responders who just came back and wants to pursue new area. So it will be, we just got it. And then we are now in the process of implementing the plan, and it will be announced widely. Yes. Detail how to apply for it, when do they start, everything.
And what kind of credentials would somebody need in order to apply?
That I do not have right now on hand. It varies, but I would assume that some kind of assessment will be done because so that they can learn what they're doing. Going back to other kind of training that we did under federal grant, we have some kind of entry level. It's not a test, but to see what their level of understanding before they can do that. But that information will also be provided when we actually call for applications and so on.
Well, and this has been so helpful. I assume that there's information on the Purdue Northwest website if somebody wanted to follow up and learn more about this and watch the notices of when they can start, submitting their applications to be students.
Yes, correct. We are, in fact, we're working on some of this right now. And the first information will come out of when the radio show will come out this Thursday. And all 3 principal investigator and co-principal investigator will be in that. And people will have chance to ask, and we'll provide web information there as well.
Well, that is very helpful. And I know we only have about a minute or less left. So Chancellor Keon, let me ask the last question to you. And that is, I mean, I really think you have taken a very bold step as being a leader in Northwest Indiana and the mega region. Can you please comment on why you decided to spend time being a member of the board of the Alliance and your vision for having Purdue be a leader in Northwest Indiana and the Chicagoland area?
Yes, well, absolutely. You know, I think that there are a lot of needs in Northwest Indiana. And I believe that our university is really primed to take care of a lot of those needs. You can see even on this slide, we have our new biological sciences building, which houses nursing. And I don't think people think about us as being large in the nursing area, but we are one of the biggest producers of nurses in the area. In fact, we have an online program in Chicago, and right now we have 800 students in that program.
Really?
And we've had many, many graduates over the last 7 years from that program. So there's a lot of what we're doing to make an impact, to make a difference, and to make our region stronger. And we really believe that we must be part of the Chicago market, which is one of the reasons that the Alliance has become so important to us.
Well, thank you, Chancellor Keon. I am so grateful for all the contributions that you make to the Alliance, but really to the university and to the mega region as a whole. And so with that, our 30 minutes is up. I want to thank our audience for spending time with us today. I want to thank our speakers for sharing such important information. And it's really exciting to be really kind of at the cusp of what I suspect several years from now, we will look down and back at 2020 and say, well, in the midst of all of this disruption, some really important work, the ground was laid for some very important work. So thank you both for joining us today. For our audience, next week, if you're interested in technology, you won't want to miss Tuesday's webinar with the founder and CEO of P33 here in Chicago, Brad Henderson. And on Thursday, we'll be hearing from the CEO of World Business Chicago. And then don't forget to mark your calendars for the week of November 16th through the 20th. Every morning, we are going to have truly rock star programming that you are not going to want to miss. So with that, we'll sign off. Stay well, stay strong, and I look forward to seeing everybody soon. Chancellor Keon, Dr. Latif, thank you so much. Have a great
Thank
day.
you. Thanks for having us.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.